It's 6 o'clock, if we could stand, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I ask one question before we start? Was our village clerk notified? Is this her tape recorder or is the opposite tape recorder?
Whose tape recorder is that? Whose tape recorder are we
There's two
using?
tape recorders.
Okay, has Julie been notified that we're having this meeting?
Yeah, she
She
was
has been
aware.
notified, so, because I would have picked up the other tape recorder, but as long as this goes to her.
So, yeah, okay.
That's the second one.
No,
Joe has
that's
one.
hers, this is ours.
Yeah.
That's
Joe
her.
has, and that, right in front of
You
you.
have one in front of you? That's what I'm asking, yeah.
There's two
Yeah.
tape recorders.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm asking.
All right, so first item is acceptance of the agenda. Is there anything else that you want added?
I'd like to add business communications, email to trustees.
Okay, is that something that can be addressed at the regular meeting?
I don't think it should have to wait, because if committees are meeting, then I believe they should take action.
All right, so do you want to, is there a motion to add, where would you want to do that, after petitions from the public, or?
Sure.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the agenda to add communications?
I amend the motion that we have communications.
Okay. So Sharon, okay?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Or, I'm sorry, are there any things to be added to the agenda? Okay. If not, is there a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sharon? Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So petitions from the public. Obviously, we're here to talk about sidewalk or snow removal rates. If you want, we can go into communications. Does anybody want to address the council on something else other than the snow rates? Okay, so why don't we go to communications and then let you guys address the council after that, if that's okay with everybody. So, all right, so Peggy, you brought up communications, so yes.
For the 3 years I've served on the council so far, exactly 3 years, I've said I would like to be contacted by the village by hard copy or a phone call. I'll run down and pick up whatever paperwork is pertinent. And it came to my attention last Thursday after a meeting from our, as our attorney was leaving the room, that Joe Snow had an important communication. And so I called Joe 10:30 that night, left a message that the next day, 3:45, I'd be down to pick up whatever emails the other trustees got that I didn't receive. And when I read the packet, there was very pertinent information. We had 2 weeks to respond to an email dated October 11. It was addressed to the president and trustees, so I did not get my mail. A decision was made, and I had nothing to do with it. And I just think that that is wrong. That's malfeasant behavior. It's egregious also that if someone serves on the council, they should not have to check their email every day if they don't choose to. And I chose not to, and I've been consistent. And when Joe asked me, when are you getting your computer repaired, I said I don't want to because I think it's inappropriate that the village is doing business on computers. So I'd like whatever committees to look into it, and I hope this is a public record that when you contact me as one of the 7 people that is supposed to have a role in making a decision, that you contact me in my preferred method, which is if you're too busy, he said he's too busy to telephone me. If you can't telephone me, I think the 14-day window to respond on that one serious matter, it was all gone, and I received notice 24 days after action should have been taken, and we should have had a special meeting. So I'm highly upset about it. And I don't know who knew what when, but I know I should have known and I didn't.
Any other comments?
How can we resolve this?
Well, I mean, are you willing to, I guess we'll have to make phone calls if there is something, and print it out, so, yeah.
Would that be good for you if,
I don't think it would be too hard. There's only 6 trustees here, and I don't think that is too impossible to make 6 telephone calls. It doesn't take long.
Well,
I don't
and
need a
and I
phone
can
call.
say, I mean, I would not need a phone call.
I don't need a phone call. I
No.
don't.
So who
But
would
if-
need a phone call?
If there was, that doesn't take long. We do a lot of calling for different things, and we get it done. It doesn't take long.
Okay,
Leave a message if the person isn't on the other end, that's all I could say.
all right, so then who would want phone calls? Peggy, obviously you. Sharon, would you want a phone call?
No, I look at my computer.
But you're doing business on the computer that should be done here in this room in front of the public. I think you better be careful. Even if you all think it's great to get it through email, the very fact if you have a timeline on something and you don't respond, then you've taken action by your inaction. You better be careful.
So, okay, so in the future though, yeah, please call Peggy when there's something there. So, all right. All right. Okay, so then we're on to snow removal fees. So who wants to address the council on snow removal rates? No one?
Well, I have something to
Okay.
say, but it's not necessarily about the rates, although I have not read the article. I've heard that there's, we're here to potentially double our rates. And I'm not even complaining about that, but I'm more wondering if we could problem solve, because I'm across the street from the UP pub, and I watched the grader driver the other day, or last week, whatever, when he went fast, because he comes up Fifth Street, there was a truck in front of my shop, and there was a truck in front of the pub, and he had to come to like a stop just about. But then with that truck there, he did the one pass, but what happens is, because I'm not open and I have patrons, and I don't dislike the pub, I'm glad we have a business in town, so this is not a beef about the pub. It's how do I get my snow removed? Because I am the first business on the 3rd block on the right-hand side, and then there's not another one till Pizza Works. But I've been walking my snow blower around the block and doing my own snow because I'm neglected.
Okay.
And this isn't a bitch. I understand why I'm not getting done, because there's a problem with parking. So my idea is, nobody's occupying the Turner's building. I wonder if we could ask the pub patrons to park there in the morning until the roads are done. It's just a suggestion, and maybe that's not where to start. I don't know.
And the problem is there were cars on the street when they were plowing.
But there always are,
Okay.
because they're open at 7 and the plow doesn't come. So,
Oh, I got it.
do you see what I'm saying? So once we start getting really heavy snow, I'm buried.
Right.
I'm like, the snowstorm from 78. So it's kind of a...
So the problem is, again, that even, and because, they're not supposed to park there from 2 to 7, but you're saying by 7 o'clock, they're already on the street.
Right, and if
parked.
the plow's coming, and there's vehicles on both sides, he
Yeah.
couldn't even, he stopped and inched his way past, in between those trucks.
Yeah, I think Friday was last week was unusual because we didn't have the winter parking ban in until November 1st. And so I know there were a lot of cars parked on the street that they had to go around. But this sounds like it's a recurring problem.
This is a
during the winter.
recurring, and thank you for realizing that. It is, this isn't a brand, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a beef, but if I'm gonna pay more, then I'm gonna get a little bit excited.
Steve, is that something that you've seen, that's a problem?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is there anything we can do? I mean, I guess that's the bigger question.
Yeah, I don't know what we can do. I'm hoping to problem solve is all I'm doing.
Right, and I appreciate it. We've had problems with, on that block for years because sometimes we still have the windrow down there on a heavy day and we haven't picked up. Try getting a snowball
Yeah.
and a dump truck between those cars. And they park on one side and they park on the other. And they kind of give you a dirty look like we're in their way.
And they like my side of the street
Yeah.
more than theirs.
Oh, really?
And that's, you know, that's the way it is.
I'm wondering,
You know, at times, when Joel was here, he'd go out and, I can ask those people to move. And usually they tell me I'm number one in their book with their figures. But when Joel went in there, they moved. Because sometimes they're there before 7. And if they're there before 7, technically they can't be there.
so, I mean, even if we don't have somebody on duty, we could have Keith talk to the owners of the
Yes.
pub and say,
Hey,
park on one side.
we're cleaning the street,
Yeah.
because it goes not only, like she
But it-
says, it's not only their side, it's also her
First
side.
side, right? And you said they
Yeah, they
prefer it,
prefer
yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
But now that, you know, since the smoking, you can't smoke indoors, some of them now like to park on the pub side. But generally, everybody, the water company and the pub like my side of the street. So that's problematic for me, and it has been for years, and I've just dealt with it at the price point that we're at. But if I'm gonna pay more, I want the actual service, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm getting older and my shoulders are sore. I don't want to do it myself.
Could public safety talk to Keith, our police chief, about this?
Yes.
But I also don't want this, because I have no grievance with the pub, so if there's a.
No.
Well, we don't have
Or
your-
You're
anything
not
like
alone on this situation, it's not only this, you know, I mean, the 100 block, when that little cafe opens,
Yeah.
people get down there and they'll get in the way of our operation, even with the window there, they don't care. They won't park on the
Yeah.
sidewalk, it's just an inconvenience for us, and it's costing us time, equipment, and luckily we haven't had any damages.
Yeah.
So you're not alone, you know, this is a problem I've run into almost every street when we're trying to clean up. So you're not alone.
We will address that at public safety though. On our committee, we'll have our chief go in and talk to people at the pub. We can even have them talk to the people at the Rosetta and say, you know, if it's 7 o'clock and you see that the plows haven't come down yet, could you please have, you know, your patrons move their cars from one side to the other, do something. We can work with you.
Yeah.
We'll work with
Okay,
you.
well,
You just
good.
keep us updated about what's going on.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I'm not trying to start a snow war. I'm not in favor of paying any more without it getting done.
Have you read what we handed out though?
I really didn't look
Yeah,
at it yet.
Because what you're gonna find when we start discussing this is, last year we had an almost $44,000 loss on
Yeah.
snow contracts.
I'm not
And it's,
doubting that.
yeah, and if you've got 50 feet, if you'll see the example, 50 feet of frontage is costing you $122.50 for 5 months, 3 to 4 times a week, so.
Except I'm doing my own.
Okay. Well, I understand that, but still, when they do it, it's only $1.53 to plow it and take it away, so it is a bargain. That's
Well,
why
I'm
we have to-
walking my snowblower around the block and pushing it into Rodney's, because he doesn't go in and out of his garage. Because Rodney's, you know, on the right of me or left of me, depending on where he's. So I'm blowing it, well, I'm in between vacant buildings. So I'm, you know,
We'll try to help you out, but
Yeah.
Steve will help you out too. If you've got
Yeah.
problems, you let us know, because
Yeah.
that's the only way, don't get mad, we'll try to solve them.
yeah, I'm not, I don't want to get mad.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry?
It just occurs to me, we should have a special meeting on the zoning board appeal. And maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to ask everybody if they're here now, what a good time might be for that.
Okay, well, before we adjourn, we can do that.
All right,
So,
okay, all right.
Art.
I don't live in the village, but I just got a comment here. Everybody's talking about getting out like in front of her house or her business. Think about it, people. Everybody's in the park, so when the driver gets out, they're getting out into the road. That's the problem that they're having. That's why everybody's parking on one side. That's no offense to you, that's just common sense. If there's a way that, and I'm not picking on Steve, he does a great job, but if there's a way that you can windrow or pull everything to the opposite side of the road, so that if everybody's parking on the right side and they're getting out into the road, maybe you can clean the road that way and solve all your problems. It's just a suggestion. That's all I'm suggesting.
Good one.
Laura.
I'm an officer on the Calumet Co-op board, and just a question that I have regarding these proposed rates. How do these rates compare to other municipalities like Lorraine Village?
I can answer that. I went and talked to the Lorraine Village. They do charge $2 and something per linear foot. But here's our problem in the village of Calumet. We did a study on what it costs to plow for the year, and we included wages, benefits, fuel, hauling the snow, every imaginable thing. We didn't include insurance on the vehicles, but what we did was, we did a study on it, and we are losing. If you look at the total loss, we lost $44,000 last year doing this. Now, we as a municipality don't want to make money, but we're not going to go out there and lose money, and we are losing money right now. If you look at the numbers there, like for instance, if you're talking about keeping the co-op, look at the snow, look at your snow removal contracts. It cost Steve and his crew $34,281 to get the loader out there, the manpower to haul it away, fuel, everything, all year long, okay? We only billed $18,000, so we had an operating deficit of $116,169. Now, Steve and his crew is willing to do these are private contracts. This has nothing really to do with the village per se. The village is providing a service with a private contract. We can't keep doing this and losing money, we can't.
Okay, so my question is, why will it cost Calumet Village $5 a foot if Lorraine can do it for only $2? I have property in Lorraine. I've been a Lorraine taxpayer for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
They figure their rates the same way you're talking here. They take their equipment time, their wages and everything else. How come they can do it for so much cheaper over there than you guys can do it here?
We don't have the answer to that other than we compiled our own numbers. We have a larger area, I believe, than Lorraine does for the sidewalk. And this is the numbers based on last year's plowing, 16 and 17 for a 5-month period. This is what it cost us. In the city of Houghton, it might cost 4 times as much, and Lorraine might be less. But these are the numbers that it cost us, and we cannot continue to just do it and lose money. We have to break even.
Well, on behalf of the Calumet Co-op, I'm just going to lay this out there. And I know what you have to do. Obviously, you have to balance your budget and you have to pay your bills. But the example that you give is for 50 feet. Okay, you're going from 122 feet to $250 a year, which isn't a huge amount for a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
The Calumet Co-op pays thousands of dollars a year. It's going to be a huge chunk of change for the co-op. We did not budget that this year, and so we're going to have a hard time doubling a $2,800 bill and being able to pay that on a timely basis. So if the council is going to double the rates, which it appears that might be this conversation tonight, we would hope that some of the businesses that have huge contracts like that would be able to have a longer payment period, because right now the payment period is pretty short. And instead of having to have it all paid by February 1st, or I think that's something like the date, we would at least like some consideration if this rate goes up that drastically to have a longer payment time, because that is a real hardship for a business that pays thousands of dollars for snow removal. It's not like a homeowner that only has to pay an extra $100 a year or something.
But you have to remember, Laura, here's the deal on these snow contracts. The snow contracts have nothing to do with what we provide to the residents of the village of Calumet. It's a separate contract that's signed by a business. There's a couple of individuals, so you do not have to sign a contract.
I think Laura's talking about the sidewalk rates,
No,
right?
she's
You don't have
not,
a
she's talking
contract.
about, she's talking about.
Everything.
Oh, you have both the
They're two
contract and
separate
the sidewalk.
issues, they're
Okay.
two separate issues.
Okay.
So you
Sorry.
do not have, the sidewalks are, something that's in the ordinance, okay? We have an ordinance for sidewalks, so we have to look at the facts there. And whatever it's gonna cost us, that's what we have to charge you. We're not gonna make money on it, we're just gonna have to charge you that. On the snow contract removal, that's a private thing. You do not have to contract with the village of Calumet. You're more than welcome to get your contract from anybody you want. We've just been providing that service. It's not anything other than private. So if you guys feel like that's too much, you can certainly go and sign a contract with somebody else.
Okay, so you're only talking about sidewalk plowing, you're not talking
No, I'm not talking about sidewalk, I'm
contracts.
talking about private contracts. There's something we do separately, so you can get anybody you want to do that.
Okay, so
But
this
sidewalks are
discussion,
mandated to.
this discussion tonight is purely sidewalk plowing. This
Okay,
has nothing to do with snow removal contracts.
all right, well, you were talking about the co-op. Let's explain
We're
that.
doing
Is this, we're
We're doing, yeah.
doing both, right?
Yeah,
Well,
we're doing both.
Where's your proposal for the rate increase for the snow removal contracts? This is only talking about sidewalks.
No, if you read it, it's both. There's three things. There's sidewalk, and then you read down the middle, it says snow removal contract, you go down further, it's alley snow. You have to, does the public want a minute to read that, so we have a discussion?
But
understand it?
Laura, you're asking what the rates would be, right?
This is for us only.
No, my ask is, if they're going to go up drastically, will a business be able to have a longer period to pay?
Right.
I would hope that the council would consider that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a hardship.
Yes, that's the answer is yes. Laura, we're not here to make life miserable
No,
for
I don't
anybody.
need the
We
lecture.
have
I
to-
just asked a question, you answered
Okay,
it, that's good.
We just have to break even, that's all we're looking to do is break even here. And for a long time, it should have been looked at and hasn't been. And now it's come to fruition that if you look at the total loss, just for last year, it's $60 short of $44,000 with these private contracts. There's a huge loss here. We can't sustain this loss.
But the good news is, if you're mandated through that ordinance 105, which says we will do your sidewalks, and the rate will be in resolution, we've determined that $5 is our break even, but the footage, it could even be quadrupled and still be probably less than a private contractor would charge. So we're just trying to break even so that the village can continue to operate and offer that service. Then the snow removal, maybe you can all talk to different people, because maybe we shouldn't have any private snow contracts. Our streets are enough to maintain with the skeleton crew we have on the street department.
Question then,
Yes.
where do we dump it?
Well, whatever private contractor you get, they have to have a snow dump.
Right, you guys control the dump.
No, they have to have their own snow dump.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Wherever they want to dump it, they can't dump it in ours, but they have to.
They are already.
Well, Steve can
We've
address
seen
that.
it, I've seen it done, and I know they're doing it. Because we've had different contractors, I'm president of the co-op. We've had people come in and say, we don't have a place to dump it, because we don't have our own dump, and the village won't let us dump it in there, even though we're doing their job. What are you gonna do for that?
What do you mean you're doing your?
Well, if we don't sign a contract for you guys to remove the snow,
Right,
then you're penalizing one of our contractors to remove the snow and put it in your dump, because you guys didn't remove it.
no,
That's what it amounts to.
that's,
Their response.
No, you're missing the point of this. We're
No.
doing these private, just listen, we're doing the private contracts that are separate from the operations of the streets, okay? If you want to sign a contract, you can sign a contract and they're gonna say it's X amount of dollars to haul it and put it in our snow dump. If you don't want to deal with us, you don't have to. This is private, just like if you were to get anybody else that has a private business. Now, if these people have a private business, and there's a lot of them out there, they don't just deal with the downtown people, they deal with private people at their homes or their driveways, things like that. They've got to have a place to put it, so that's part of their deal. They can't put it in our snow yard. And we might tonight just say no more private contracts. If you want your snow removed, you know, hire somebody. I mean, I don't know what the fix is here.
Well, I'm just letting her speak
Thank
first.
you. I have nothing to do with the billing. I have nothing, but I see what's going on at the co-op. And the only snow that gets removed from the co-op is right there on the corner. Most of that snow is from the road and the sidewalks. It does not come from a parking lot. All of our snow gets parked behind the store to melt. Our private contractor does that. So
Who's your private contractor?
the Forge.
The Forge who plows?
Yeah,
Okay.
and he puts it behind this, and besides the fact that, you know, before they come and get the snow that comes mostly off the roads and the sidewalks that we pay for, before they come and get it, pump number 4 is blocked off. I personally spend many, many hours out there with a snow scoop trying to find pump number 4. We have business to run.
Right. Well, you know, Steve can address these things, but you gotta remember that private contracts are, these snow removal contracts are private contracts. We might hit the point where if you don't like, you know, the public wants to go somewhere else and you don't like our service or you think it's too high, that's fine, because then we don't have any more that extra wear and tear on our equipment, because these are private. Just like you say, I'll give you an example, like say Heichel over here who has a loader, if you wanted to go to Heichel and say, hey, I want a contract to haul my snow, well, you have every option to do that. This is just a service we've been providing for years and years. But as you see on your handout sheet, what it cost and what we billed
I
was
understand
100% different, and we can't do that anymore.
But
We
you
can't.
can't take it out on the people that are.
We're not taking it up, we're just saying, we can just say we're not doing it anymore. This is a private thing. It has nothing to do with your rights as a resident in the village of Calumet. This is a private contract. It's different than the sidewalks.
Well,
I'm just
like I
saying,
said,
a lot of
I have
people
nothing
take
to do with the billing, but if they're not charged more, they could at least come and pick the snow up more often. We get a lot of traffic through there, and
Well, that's
It's
something you'll
just
have to talk to the
ridiculous.
street people about, but, you know, I think everybody that's sitting in this audience, this snow removal thing, we're not in it to make money. There's nobody here that wants to make money on this. We don't want to lose money. And when we're losing $44,000 on private contracts and sidewalk removal, that's something the village cannot sustain. Like, okay, I'll get back to this young lady right here. If you've got 50 feet, $122.50 for 5 months. You divide $122.50 by 5 months, that's what, $25 a month? And Steve and his crew will come by 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week. It's costing you $1 something. So the days that you gotta go out there because somebody from the pub has been egregious, we apologize for that, but the rest of it is such a bargain, it's almost ridiculous.
Okay, well,
I mean, that's just my opinion.
it's not occasional, it's been for years.
Okay, well, we can try to solve that.
Yeah.
And this gentleman here.
And a question, okay? When you guys start in the morning, what time you start?
2 o'clock,
2 o'clock,
1 o'clock.
okay. You start with what, the private contract,
No, we start on sidewalks,
sidewalks? So then
contracts.
why is it so hard to clean 5th Street and 6th Street sidewalks before the cars get there to park? If you're starting that early in the morning?
Now listen, it takes 3 hours to clean those sidewalks, push them in the street. Then they have to be windowed, okay? The same guys that are pushing, are doing contracts and sidewalks, have to run the dump trucks. It's not like I got 15 guys. So by the time we get on the streets, it's 5:30, 6. First street has to be here because of the fire hall. The next street is 6 because of the businesses and the traffic. Third Street is Fifth Street. So, hey, that's how it
Well, I
goes.
think you should get some more people.
Oh, yeah.
Equipment.
Yeah, get truck drivers. Give me a truck driver. You got a CDL?
No, I got chauffeur's license.
Well, it doesn't, that ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna
I'm
do
not
it,
gonna
man.
talk about my personal job, I'm talking about,
Well, it
first I
ain't.
started at 2 o'clock in the
And
morning.
this doesn't really.
But anyway,
Yeah.
part of the contract, now, unless you've been out there at 4 in the morning, part of the contracts with, he has 3 contracts that we set up with, the gentleman that does yours, DeForge.
George, yeah.
He's allowed, while we're windrowing those streets, before they're windrowed, he plows a lot of that snow.
I watch him. I see it on the camera.
Okay, he plows it into the street for me to pick up.
And some of it.
That snow that is usually left there on the sidewalk is snow on weekends and we don't pick up, or times we don't pick up. But majority of the snow, he can push into the street, because that's the agreement we have. We have a contract with him and you to plow the snow. Same thing with the Spirus. He does the Spirus, and the same thing with the laundromat.
My biggest complaint is me out there with the snow scoop, just trying to get to my customers happy on pump number 4.
Well, during the weekends, yeah, we're not gonna pick up.
It ain't just during the weekends.
We don't pick up. And under 3 inches of snow, I'm not gonna call a full crew to clean it down. The whole idea was sidewalk costs. The original agreement, now I was told this by an administrator 3 or 4 times before, was you're paying not only for the sidewalk, but you're also paying to have that snow removed. And we've gone down to a certain amount of snow can be left there before we pick up. And that's just because of cost. It's plain and simple. You don't sell your gas for under what you pay for it. Why should I give that same service for less than what I do?
One of my concerns is if we have a deficit already, we can't provide better service even if the rates are doubled. And people might get more unhappy if they think they deserve better service if the rates are higher. But we've been, haven't crunched the numbers to see that we should have been raising the rates, like 50 cents or $1 over the last 20 years. So this didn't come as a big shock to everybody.
See, that's the problem.
Yeah.
This is a little change in subject, but why are there so much, the delinquent accounts with the sidewalk, snow removal expenses?
Oh,
That's people not paying their bill?
That's right.
Do they continue to get the service?
Well, here's the deal that's gonna happen this year. Oh, this is not like 1 year delinquency, there's a handful of people that owe thousands of dollars, and over the years, they've just been allowed to be put in arrears, like they just owe this, and they've been getting service. Well, this year, they're gonna make arrangements to pay that delinquency, where they're not gonna get sidewalk service till it happens.
Well, I would think not. I mean, if I
Okay,
don't
well,
pay my water bill, they'll
Okay,
shut
well,
it
we're
off.
addressing it this year, it's never been addressed before, and also we're gonna look at taking these same accounts, people can make arrangements to pay it, and we're gonna put it in a collection agency. We're gonna play hardball here,
Well,
because
I
there's no
think you
reason
should.
why
That's
you always pay your bill,
right.
and you do a good job with it, but remember, this has been going on for years and years and years and years, and now we're gonna fix it. So, we're gonna try to fix it, yes.
Well, they shouldn't get the service if they don't pay.
Well, they're not gonna this year if we vote on it.
Not this year.
Not this year, so
No.
just to let you know, you're not being treated differently.
That's not fixing anything, Bert, by not taking that, because then people can't walk the streets. That's just as retarded
What do you
as them as
suggest?
not paying.
What do you suggest then?
You have to do it though, because how are you gonna say, they're gonna just go around places and leave big mounds?
I don't
I mean, you
think
lost
it's fair to
everything.
those who pay and
Well,
and then
what's
the other ones
fix?
get away with it.
I don't know what the fix is,
Not
but you
fair.
can't just leave snow in the middle of a place if they don't pay. How are they gonna get around? Are people
Well,
gonna
the
get hit in the
collection
lot? Then is
agency
the
is
village
probably the
liable?
right way to go.
Yeah,
Huh?
I mean, yeah, and I have to agree with that, if you have sidewalks cleaned and then I'm forced to go into the street because the sidewalk isn't clean, am I gonna do that? I mean, that's
Well, then
dangerous.
somehow they have to
Even for
pay
the
their
equipment,
bill.
it's hard to go around places.
Well,
Stop doing it.
the only way we're gonna get anywhere is to play hardball with these people,
That's
okay?
right.
Well, it's
Whatever we have
hurting
to
the
do.
people who pay to
Exactly.
have people not pay, because you shouldn't technically be giving them the service, but
No.
because it isn't beneficial to the,
We will take any
Community.
suggestions that you have, because I agree with you.
well, I think the,
I guess we have to try.
Yeah, we gotta try
If it
something.
doesn't work,
And something
we
you
can
might
always
want
go
to do,
back.
Yeah, we gotta try something.
something you might want to do too, prior councils have refused, is to give people an amnesty and say, we will waive interest and penalties if you pay within 60 days. I mean, that's
Yeah, we can
another.
do that.
I'm
well, if
sorry,
they're not used to
that-
paying,
to me,
that's not really.
This
I
is
don't know if
my
that would
opinion
pass.
on that. I have paid my bill all these years. It's their fault they haven't, so they know that they're gonna get the interest added on. That was their choice.
But you know why they didn't pay? Because they were allowed not to pay all these years. That's what happened. There was no action that was ever taken before, and now we're in this situation where, you know, it's, the fees have never been raised, and now it's a big shock, okay, because we're losing $44,000 a year, and nobody ever went after these people that didn't pay their accounts. That should have been done. Now, we can't go backwards and fix it from then, but we're gonna make an attempt to fix it and try to make it fair for everybody.
Can't you put that on their property tax bill?
No.
No, because
legal, you can't.
it's, you could, but it's legally you can't do anything with it, it's just a number sitting there. So you can't do it.
So you have a comment?
Me, yeah.
Okay.
I want to know, has anybody discussed the word removal? Does anybody in here besides me know what the word means? Anybody? I'm a high school dropout and I know what the definition of the word removal is. And according to your snow thing, you are removing the snow, right? Isn't that what it says, removal of snow, of sidewalks and such? Removal, you know what it means?
Right. So
What
so
does-
what is your point?
Yeah, what is your
Well,
point?
my point is, when you take all the snow and you plow it, because you're not removing it, you are plowing it to the sidewalk and making a 3-foot berm by 3 foot wide. That's not removing nothing, you're plowing snow. Second of all, and I agree with the sidewalk thing because I have to walk on them. I don't know about how many of you walk up and down the damn sidewalk, but you don't plow them. They're terrible. And if you're in a car and you want to get to the sidewalk, bring your climbing boots because you can't get to it. Because you plow the snow. You don't remove it, Steve. Did anybody ever teach you how to remove snow?
This,
You know.
Yeah.
watch your voice and,
Yeah,
and.
We're looking for suggestions.
I'm just asking a simple yes or no question. I grew up in a small town kind of like this one. We didn't have snow goes. We had 5 dump trucks, 2 payloaders. They cleaned up the whole town, sidewalks and all. I don't get it. You can't do that here? You're not removing nothing. 1 or 2 times you'll remove it, but then you plow it to the sidewalk and make it tough for any customer to get to any shop on 5th Street. You make it tough for me to get to my doorway to my apartment on 5th Street. And you want to sit here and double the rates for removing snow. You don't remove it. Half the time you do, the other half you don't. And when it comes to the billing aspect, as in sending people bills and they don't pay, I happen to know you send bills to people, you ain't never removed no snow in front of any of their businesses. And then you're sending bills to people who own an empty lot for snow removal. And you're going to sit here and say, well, they don't pay. Why should they?
They need to come and talk to us, not just come here and complain about people when we don't know who they are. If they have a complaint, come talk to us, we'll try to address it, okay? Don't use anonymous this and that. Have them come in there, we'll take care of it.
Well, I'm not going to speak up for anybody else
Okay, then you
that I
shouldn't.
happen to know
You
of.
shouldn't,
And I'm not.
okay?
But I happen to know you send people bills for door, no, you ain't never removed
Then they need
none.
to come in here and talk to us,
I'm
okay?
sure they will if you try to double their bill that they already get charged for.
Okay. Art actually has his hand.
Go ahead, Art. You know, the snow removal is a pain in the ass for everybody. I did contracting snow removal. I don't live in a village. village, so maybe what I say doesn't mean nothing to anybody, that's fine. I know Steve, what I've seen, and happens to be Steve because he's the head of it right now, it could be anybody, it could be any one of us. I think the streets are better than they have been. I will say that. The idea of the sidewalks, I think there's, when I call it Lakeland commercially, I think there's a legal responsibility to the village to keep the sidewalks open. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not here to argue it, but I think there's something about that. But the idea of trying to get these people to get some money back, I've been in the same situation, not with the money that you guys are at, and I ended up taking what I could get out of it, it was better than nothing. It's not right, I agree, but you're getting some of your money back. It's not right for the person that paid every day and isn't fine, I understand that. But if you can get a quarter of what you've got back out there, I'm not saying it's right because of to drop the interest rates, but if you get a quarter back, it's better than nothing. And I think something that you should look somewhere along those lines also, not just, mailing everybody for everything that everybody owes. That's because I lost money, and that's just, unfortunately, that was the thing of doing business. But as far as I think what's going on, I know 6th Street's 100% better than it used to be.
And surely I know what the.
Okay, just one person at a time,
I'm
so.
just saying about the plowing of the road, and I'm not, grant you, we can complain out here with the theater, there's times it's not plowed, I brought my loader's loader up, we plowed the sidewalks and everything else in front of the theater, I'm not complaining, we pushed it in the corner, which Steve or nobody else has said anything, which is not actually legal. But they've allowed us to push it in the corner like some of the other places in town because there's only so much that can be done. So I'm just saying, this is a touchy subject here. To start getting down everybody's throat is not the answer. Grant you, I don't like the way some of the things are being done in the co-op. I can see what could cost us more, like Laura said, but try to deal something. I don't live on 5th Street, and like I said, I don't pay tax or anything in Calumet Village. This is just what I see as an outsider. That's the only opinion I have, really.
Okay, Nate, you want to
You
comment?
want to say anything yet?
Oh, yeah, the only thing I have to say to that, Art, is if they actually remove the snow like it says, you wouldn't have to do that.
And Ed's got a good point to that. I'm in favor, I'm like everybody on this side, Matt, I'm in favor of raising the commercial rates, because I live in a residence and I can't get the snow off the street. I can't call Heichel. It'd be great to call Heichel. But Heichel won't move my snow because he doesn't want to make Steve mad. Snow has gotten personal in the village. You're talking about snow wars, right? I'm going to speak for other people. I'm going to speak for those 8 empty seats because I've talked to the residents. All right? I've talked to the business owners. There's people that would love to be here, but they're afraid. They're afraid that their place is going to look like my place or Sydney's place. They see what's going on. You don't have to, be a psychic to figure it out. When you come in and you complain and you demand the service that you pay for, you get dumped on. That's why those seats are empty. There's a better way to handle this. In 8 months, we had 1,100 hours just in maintenance. 1,100 hours in maintenance, all right? 1,100 hours in maintenance. It's way too much. Way too much. Our equipment should be shining. For our spring cleanup, we had a little pile of trash out there. 165 hours. They were taking half truckloads to the dump. To the tree dump, just right around the corner. Not to the dump. Watch the guy spend 4 hours piddling around the pile because he didn't have the proper equipment to do it. And it's not because we don't have access to the proper equipment. You know what Lake Linden does? Lake Linden leases their equipment. Lake Linden has their streets clean by 7 in the morning. They have the sidewalks clean. Even on a bad day, they're knocking it out. Somebody was in here talking about how good Lorien service is. They got some young guys down there in Lake Linden that are kicking butt right now, and they still get complaints. There's always going to be complaints. Fortunately, I have a lot of neighbors that come and help me out because My yard goes from 6 feet wide to 36 feet wide in the winter because Elm Street's just one big snug one. Just happens to be right there in front of my place. You know, I live with it, you know. But those 8 seats right there that are empty are 8 people that are afraid to come in here and say anything, you know, because they don't want to be dumped on. People aren't getting the service that you're charging for. Rodney, right over here at Ace Hardware, he had to pay Joe Trevathan to remove his snow on multiple occasions because the village can't get to it. So he's paying Joe and the village, you know. What's not being addressed here, because I am in favor of raising the rates, I don't think it's enough money, but the figures that you gave here, if you go by the street reports, they're garbage, they're made up. The street reports are made up. You know, there's no way that we spend the time that is mentioned in these reports. If any of you guys want to see any of these, I have copies. You can get with me, I can get you copies of it. You know, it's real. We need efficiency, we need the right equipment. What Ed says about removing snow, that nails it on the head. If all you're out doing is just pushing it around, now you've made more passes than you have to. You know, Joe's talked to me about this several times. I wish he could have been here tonight, but you guys scheduled the meeting the same time as the Township Fire Department home meeting. So there was 2 or 3 other people who would like to have been here as well. You can take a bucket, just like Mr. Calcich has got up here, and you can move this snow away from the sidewalk. Instead of making 4 or 5 passes, pick it up all at one time. If the dump truck's not right there to load it, we have plenty of lots to put the snow or corners to put the snow until you have time to get back to it. All the grader's doing is just playing with it. You know, it's just playing with it. What's not going to be addressed here tonight is how to make our street department better. Our street department needs an overhaul, not the snow contracts, the street department itself. Spring cleanup's a joke, snow removal's a joke, police protection's a joke, and sanitation's a joke. Why are we even paying taxes to be in a village when we can't have those 3 things? That's the basic 3 things as a resident that I expect. I expect snow removal, I expect sanitation, and I expect police protection. And right now, none of us are getting what we pay for.
I am.
Thank you. All right. I think we pretty much, okay, one more time and then we need to.
Well, I'm just saying one last thing before I leave. I'm just gonna go collect some money on a bet I made with a guy because I told him I'd come here and every question I asked I'd never get an answer to, in which I didn't. Can't even give a guy an answer on what the word removal means. Pretty sad.
Have a nice day.
All right. So I think everybody has had an opportunity to speak, so do you guys have a proposal as to then what rates you would like for the coming year?
Well, you know, after all this discussion, I'm going to give my 2 cents and then everybody else can. The bottom line is, you know, when it comes to sidewalk removal, we're not going to charge any more than it costs to do it. We cannot do it and be in the red. We just can't. So we're going to have to go to $5 a linear foot. The ordinance number 105, signed in it's on your packet there, 1978 or 79. And, you know, we can't be losing money on it. You know, that's the bottom line to it. Now, when it comes to snow removal contracts, okay, now here's how I'm starting to feel about it. People think that we're doing a bad thing by having to double it because we have such a terrible operating deficit. You know, that is not part of your taxes, that's not part of anything. Maybe it's time to think about not having special snow contracts and leaving it up to the businesses to contract with whoever they like. Maybe that's the better way of doing it right now and see how that works and maybe we can get back into it in the future. You know, we're doing the best. Steve doesn't, you know, I take offense when people come in here and complain about there's a little berm of snow, this or that or whatever. There's a lot of snow in this area, okay? That's the bottom line. Steve does a damn good job with what he has. And if you ever go to that garage, he doesn't have a whole lot of new stuff, okay? But we are not. If I'm going to sit here and be fiscally responsible for the Village of Calumet's taxes, I am not going to allow us to lose twice as much as it costs to do this service. So I'm looking at, maybe we don't need to have any snow removal contracts. How do you feel about that, Steve? If there's gonna be all this contentious stuff, they're not picking it up here, they don't do it enough, maybe it's time that we've had this special thing and businesses can just hire whoever they want. That might be a better deal.
The one thing about contracts, this is fairly late for someone to have to go out and find
I
something else.
understand.
I mean, if we're gonna get out of the business, we ought to tell them this would be our last venture to do it.
But here's the problem.
Sorry.
We're not
We're
trying to
beyond-
make, we're not trying to make money on this. We are just trying to break even.
Well, we had some observations from the public here, and some of those observations might even be characterized as complaints, but there are all kinds of people with snow contracts who aren't here tonight, apparently. If you want to raise the amount on the snow contracts, it's okay with them. I mean, the folks who are here this evening are a real minority of all the people who have snow contracts.
But when they get their bill for the snow
So I
contract,
don't think that's,
They don't have to sign it.
I think the complaints are kind of at a minimum. If you might have some other reasons for not doing these contracts or whatever, but I think, if you have 2 or 3 people show up and complain and all the others are at home, that's not a lot of complaints.
Can I ask one question?
sure.
Just out of curiosity, what is your loader charging for snow removal for contract? Just out of curiosity.
Right now, my loader rate with an operator, without a fringe factor, is $74.43 an hour.
That's cheap.
Right.
Tony Locatelli was $90 an hour.
Oh,
There's
right.
everybody else that comes in, that we check.
$100 an hour.
They're right, $90 to $100 an hour. Your average rate for snow plowing right now is $67 an hour per pickup truck.
Yeah,
If you're doing anything with it.
We used to charge $1 a minute.
Okay, same. So what I'm saying is, people that aren't having major contracts, like I said, I don't live here in the village. Some of these should be out there so they actually know how expensive it really is out there.
That's why we have given this to the public to show. We're not trying to make money. We're just trying to break even, that's all.
Is it true, I remember from years ago, we had not taken on any new contracts because we don't have the time. So once they give their contract up, they don't get it back.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I was just double checking it was still the same.
And seeing so far after, as of today, we've reduced it by 2 contracts. They called in and said they don't want our services. So
That's good.
that's fine.
Then it's more time to the street.
Yeah.
The problem with contracts, like I said, we're a street department,
Streets are done first.
and we have to clean the streets first.
Yeah.
And usually the sidewalks have to be cleaned with the streets when we pick up. Contracts are last on the list. And when it comes to after cleaning the streets, we usually have 7.5 hours in on a good snowfall. So then we don't, it's been agreed upon with past administration that we don't do snow contracts on overtime. And sometimes, last winter we'd go 5, 6, 7 days on removing snow with no time on contracts. So it's a question of how much and how much time you want to spend. Another example is, once they redid Fifth Street, we had to go out and buy a skid steer with a V-plow on it, okay?
Be the light poles.
Yeah, because of the light poles, I can't get a truck, I can't get the grader. Years ago, my grader operated 4 passes in Fifth Street was done, sidewalks and all. It took 30 minutes, the way he drove. But now, it takes 2 hours just to do the sidewalks. And that skid steer was bought in '89, we haven't replaced it. They don't make parts for the plow anymore. So, that's where we're at right now with the equipment. That was bought just for those sidewalks at the time. We used it for other things, but not nearly as much as sidewalks, and it's beyond its age.
So one of those little John Deeres that were buzzing around town, those weren't they're not a good idea for the sidewalk?
They're for small, one thing, they're a single stage blower, and they have the attachments, but they're not heavy duty for what we need. And those blowers from John Deere, they were having problems constantly, but they had a full crew in their repair shop.
Oh, yeah, I'm not
Tear 'em
comparing,
down.
I
Right.
realize that, there were 100 of them and
Right,
they
they
were,
were all-
that's all they did all day long.
Right.
So I totally get that. I just
They-
wondered,
No, it's,
getting around the lamp
That's
posts.
it, well, they were testing their.
Right, and I thoroughly understand that, but getting around the lamp posts, it looked like it was
Yeah,
pretty
it's-
cool for that.
yeah. But the problem is that it's outside and, you know, it's getting harder and harder to find somebody to go out there, and I don't know how those guys did it all those years without being inside a cab at 2 in the morning. You know, it's pretty hard for me to get a guy to go out there. A lot of people don't wanna do that. You know, as it is, the requirements I have to get somebody employed, I have a high standard of qualifications that they have to have, and just alone in the CDL, alone.
You need a CDL to drive a little John Deere?
No, but that's not all they do. See, they'll go from that piece of equipment and then drive a dump truck.
I see.
So they have to be able to be, you know, variety. And it's hard to find somebody that only wants to work in the winter. You know, I don't have full-time work for them, and it's all only on call.
Mhm.
Right, Paul?
Leasing better equipment.
If we
What's
could
that?
if we could get back to
About leasing
rates,
better
if we could get back to rates,
Money-wise,
so,
where we get
so,
the money.
Steve, we're gonna get back to rates.
$100 of maintenance we got.
Hey, I'm sorry, you're out of order, okay, so we're talking about rates here. So Virg, you're suggesting a $5 rate for sidewalks?
That's the number we determined to break even
Right.
with the sidewalks.
Okay,
The one thing that we haven't discussed though, and we should discuss this, and Steve can add more to it, we have one alley contract, and that alley is this alley that goes to the water company. And the water company is contracted to clear the snow, and you have to bear in mind, they're in the middle of the alley. So if you look at your sheet here, they've been billed $1,219 for the entire year. They go in that alley, take the snow away, and they go all the way through the alley because that's the only way to get to them. But if you look at that, it actually cost us $8,805 to get in there, and we're charging them $1,200. Now, after talking to Steve, you know, Steve has come to the, we've got to make this decision, but Steve has come to the, you know, to the position that we can't do that alley contract anymore. It is not cost effective. It is 7 times as much. We can't do it. Can't do it.
That close the theater on.
They're still gonna do, because this is the village property, Steve, could you address that? They would still do that.
Because there are this
Yes.
tour buses and everything coming through.
Yeah,
that
Yes.
house.
the dumpsters there, the tour bus, and then we also keep that path, we try to keep the path open from the alley to the front to the fire.
Yes, because that's part of this, you know, village property. But the rest of it, boy, that's a lot of money to be spending and a lot of time. But if you have any questions for Steve on that, he can tell you more about that. That thing was costing us 7 times as much as what we were charging.
But
That's
we're-
crazy.
Offering the service at the even point, then we should also offer it for that alley. If it costs us $8,000, then offer to do it for the amount it costs the village.
That would be entirely up to this council to ask the, you know, the water company to pay $8,800 for this year. We could do that. The problem is, like Steve was discussing, is that doesn't just help the water company. You've got many businesses that go all the way through here. You know, maybe it would be a good thing this year to not have that contract, and then if the businesses, because you got 5th and 6th Street, it's not just the water company. If they decide that they, you know, they all want to pay, you know, a fair share to do something, because asking them to pay $8,800 to do that, but I think that's very unfair to them.
They'll move out of the village.
Yeah, I mean, that's very unfair to them, really.
I had called Steve today and talked to him,
Oh, did you? Good.
and he was gonna call me back if he had any suggestions, but he was out of town tonight, so he wasn't gonna be able to make it. But I don't feel that, you know, because what's the water company gonna do if we charge them? I'm sure on the customers.
Yeah, your water bill is low. Yeah.
And it's not fair, because if we do that whole alley, you know, there's apartments back there, cars are parked, and there's other businesses, and a lot of the deliveries go through there, and waste management goes through there. So, you know, we're getting into a whole situation here that, does that mean all the dumpsters gotta go on 6th or 5th? We don't have any room for dumpsters on 5th Street.
So what do you wanna do, Steve? If you could get the money that it takes to reimburse the village, would you say, well, not a problem, we'll do it? Or would you say, even if we get money that would pay our costs, it's too much of a problem for us?
Well, if we could get reimbursed, you know, you're looking at, we figured there was 10 property lots on each side of 6th and 5th, you know, so that's 20 lots. If we could get that narrowed down, everyone pay a portion if they want it, but there's no guarantee that they're gonna want it, or they're gonna say.
You gotta find some who would just say, hell with it, you know? But I, you know, if the water company wants it, we'll pay $8,800, and you don't have a problem with it, because, you know, it gets pushed over to the customers, but remember, the customers aren't just in the village of Calumet. That their office serves the entire north side of Houghton County, and they're gonna spread that cost over customers. It's negligible for customers.
That's an option we should look into.
Yeah.
Or we look at telling them, hey, you fend for yourself, get a private contractor.
What's your preference on this? I mean, you spend too much time getting in there because they're in the middle?
Well, that's a big spot, you know, it's like having 2 snow fences, and we gotta plow in between those 2 snow fences. Those buildings on 5th and 6th Street are like big, gigantic snow fences. And we get a lot of snow in there, and then we push it out to Oak Street or Elm Street. And there's a lot of snow that gets pushed out, and some of it I can put into the park here, or into the parking lot, but it doesn't last, and then we gotta haul it, then we're blowing it again. So
it sounds to me as though you just as soon not do that.
if I don't have to, yeah, I can save a couple hours a day.
All right.
I guess my opinion is, if the water company is willing to pay that total dollar amount, we could continue their service. Then start looking into, to help them out, have a special meeting with all those property owners and say, this alleyway is going to be plowed like this, everybody has to pay a portion.
Yeah, because the water company isn't the only, like you said, the water company.
Yeah, the water company is not the only business that benefits. I believe we need to do the sidewalks tonight, the contracts tonight, and the contract with the water company. And then if they say no, they'll do it themselves. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it seems like there should, like for instance, it seems like there should be a better way to get in there, but there isn't. Like, I know Jim Flood is gonna have a parking lot there at some point in time. I know you're still gonna do here along the building because this is village property. But, you know, at some point in time, you may be able to go in that way, or, I mean, I don't know, it just seems like, when I looked at that, when we finally got the numbers, I just was shocked at how terrible that was.
The only thing I can say about the water company, it's pretty short notice right now for that. That's a big contract, but it will be their choice, and then we have to decide, I would say by springtime, or end of springtime, then if we're gonna do that next year, and then make a decision then, so we're not leaving them.
Yeah, I just feel bad for them because it's a huge jump, but they have to remember that you have to do the whole thing, and you're spending so much hours in there just to get there.
How we can show them the figures.
It's a big business, and they have people on staff to solve these problems for them. So it's not like, you know, you've got some guy who's got a marginal retail business or something like that, and he's the only person in the store, or maybe he's got one other person, and you're telling them you're gonna surprise them by not doing this or that. The water companies, you know, they're big enough so that they can handle things on their own.
Yeah, there's been times where their operator, who has a bucket loader, he'll go in, you know, like I say, you know, we're limited to time, and between 4 in the morning and 7 o'clock when they show up, we could have gotten a couple inches of snow. They'll go in and backblade some of that. They even maintain, they salt their, in front on their sidewalk, and they pull away snow that we don't get close to the street, to the building. So they do take care of their share. The other option is we go right from, we back in and go from the water company building south and go to Oak Street. And just do that section for them.
And that would work for the water company.
Yeah,
So that's something.
that would be the other option.
Yeah.
What do you think is the best option for this year? Because it is late in the game.
Right, it's late in the game. I would say, you know, you're gonna create a problem for all the apartments down the road, down north of the water company. They're gonna wonder where is all the snow plowing on, but we could go in from just the water company and pull everything back to Oak Street and dump it and haul it away. And then we could go down from the dumpster over here on the village property and pull everything into Elm Street. And that would cover the village, and this would also cover the water company.
How critical to the apartment?
That's what I was just gonna say,
Well,
how many
there's-
vehicles?
There's 4, 5, probably 5 vehicles that park on this side.
On Sixth Street apartments.
Well, then why aren't they being billed?
Bingo.
They, well,
Well,
because
and again, we're getting way.
we
I
weren't
mean,
actually plowing your driveways,
Right.
we're just plowing it like it's a street.
Yeah.
Right, but they're using it.
Yeah. And they should have been billed.
Yeah, they should. But my experience in
Let's-
dealing with folks where I'm looking for easements for water projects or sewer projects, or you want to solve a real estate problem that involves 8, 10, 12 owners, maybe half of them want to cooperate. The others, they want to think about it, maybe a quarter of them, and a quarter of them just, you know, so trying to get all these people to line up, and it is gonna work. I mean, most of them might, but there'll be enough there to cause a problem who aren't interested in, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So if we could
I
go-
make a motion that we offer the same services at a break-even cost to the village this year with the snow removal contracts and the alley contracts being able to go out on their own if they want to
Okay.
not subscribe to the service this year, but we have to revisit this for next year. Because maybe there's better deals for the residents if they have a year in advance. Maybe they want to buy their own truck and start a cottage industry. Maybe they want to buy some land somewhere so they can carry the snow. But our street department really has to focus on keeping the streets open, and if the ambulances have to get through, that's got to be the top priority. So there's just so much equipment, so many hours to remove this, and everybody's been in town, the streets look good, and then we get a blizzard. I think if that happened the third time I had a blizzard, I'd have to quit my job because I couldn't stand having to redo it mound after mound all the time. So my motion is that we continue at the break-even.
Okay, and could you make your motion be very specific? So sidewalks, we're proposing $5 a linear foot, correct?
Do you want
Yes.
to wrap all it up in a single motion, or do you want to do it one motion?
Let's do it separately, because one is
Okay.
an ordinance and the other ones are private.
Okay,
Okay, that's my motion then.
all right.
So the sidewalk
The
is,
following is done at the break-even.
Well,
cost.
and that
No,
is
that's-
sidewalk fees of $5 per linear foot.
Why don't we do sidewalks first?
Right.
Yeah.
So the motion is that the rate for sidewalks will be raised to $5 per linear feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and so that's Peggy, you made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Sharon? Okay. And I will do a roll call. So Jim?
Is this just for the downtown, or is this for the
This is-
downtown
this is-
and the
All
street?
sidewalk,
All sidewalks, all sidewalks.
All
That's the only
sidewalks.
place you do it.
No, we've got individual contracts for Pine Street
No, we're
and a
not
few other
talking
places.
about contracts.
For sidewalks?
We're
They're
talking
sidewalks,
about-
yeah, they are.
No, but those are under a contract, they sign a contract to do their sidewalks.
So we have a sidewalk contract for sidewalk for downtown, then we have a sidewalk contract, which we haven't addressed.
That's
then we
a
have
private thing, yes.
Okay, so that's another one. we have.
That's their snow
We're only doing
removal
with the
contract.
downtown
It
sidewalks.
is mandated by ordinance.
ordinance, okay.
Yes, so we're just doing that one right now.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay, Sharon,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Burge,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. All right, and the next is contracts. What would be the proposed fee for contracts?
That was your dollar.
That's a $1 square foot for
Okay, so
the snow removal contracts.
okay, so snow removal contracts, $1 per square foot.
Right.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Sandy? All right.
And I will second that.
Burge? Okay, I will do another roll call, so Jim?
We're only talking the 1 square, the 5 square foot removal of snow.
If
Yes.
people that sign a contract,
But that is, like, if you're gonna go up, is that correct?
yes,
Okay.
they can go with anybody they want.
Do we have to say something about spreading the payments and making that manageable
We're
for
gonna,
people?
we're gonna,
Under something like that?
we're gonna get to that
Okay.
in a little bit.
Okay, so I've got a motion and a second, so Jim?
Yes.
Okay, Sharon?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Burge?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. All right. And finally, on the water company.
What about the sidewalk contracts that are not within the downtown district? That's a whole other subject.
We just,
No, we didn't. We said the downtown district.
okay, but they're under snow removal contracts, it doesn't matter if it's a sidewalk.
But
or
don't we
a
also need
sign.
to say they're a $5 per linear foot because
No, they're a sidewalk contract. Steve, could you get those contracts out, Joe, that are on Corinne's desk so we can look at one? There are 2 people on Pine Street that have one of those. And it's a contract for an amount of money, right, Steve?
Yeah, Russo's.
And
But it is the $5 per linear foot, not the $1 per square foot.
you have to get the contracts, I don't know.
Joe, yeah, do you have the contracts from?
They're on Corinne's
Yeah.
desk. So you can look at that. We don't have to do that. They've just, over the years, they've decided that they would have a contract with these people and it's a set amount of money. You'll see it, okay? So you
Because I know that in our meeting, that was a big thing, that there is a difference between downtown and
Right, those are private contracts. We don't have to do anything.
Yeah, we know what you're looking for.
Yeah, the one you're looking for is, Olga Walker, she's on there. And
Yeah,
you'll see
and,
these contracts. Okay, but look at these, these are the contracts. Here's the bed bunch, those are the 2. You have to sign a contract.
Did you see them?
So you can see how it is on there. Because that's
It
not,
is listed by linear foot for
but it's still
the
a contract.
contract. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a contract, it's not
You see
the
what-
ordinance, it's what you should want.
Okay, so the next thing then is the water company.
Well, I make a motion, instead of setting a rate for this year, and we're gonna have to rediscuss this next spring, that if we want to do this, we have one alley snow removal contract, that's with Michigan American Water Company. And if they would like us to do it this year, they have to pay the cost, the break-even cost. The break-even cost is $8,805.08.
But amounted to 8,800 or 8,900?
8,800 would be fine, if everybody agrees. And then we will have discussion next spring. You can tell them that, Steve, that try to get other people on board to make the cost go down, but we've got to break even on this. And that'll be a contract just like what's in the folder. So I'll make that motion that we,
To charge
Yes.
Michigan American Water 8,800
right,
per year?
yeah, just, yeah, for this year, and then we'll see how it goes next year.
Okay, is there a second?
I support.
Okay, once again, I'll do roll call. Jim?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Burge?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
And then, have you thought, Jen, about how you would time, what we bill, right now, we bill twice a year, right, Joe? Do we bill twice a year?
Yes.
Okay, so right now.
Only on the contracts.
On the contracts, right,
Yeah,
right.
but if you look at this thing that I produced, the alley's not on here because Steve really didn't want the alley, he didn't think it was gonna matter. But the thing we have to address is number 3 on here is delinquent accounts. What do you want to do with delinquent accounts? Do you want to take all the, like, send these people something like this, because we're gonna have a new fee for this year, and then on the bottom say delinquent account, what it is, and on the bottom here it says that delinquent accounts will be sent to a collection agency if not paid. Now, do you want to give them, Steve, like a 10-day period because we're late in the game here?
I'd say until January 1, I mean,
Well, no, to send it to collection, I'm talking. If they, because they can come in and make arrangements with this
Yeah.
office, but I would like to see these old accounts.
Yeah, give them 10 days, I think that's, yeah.
I mean, they haven't paid in years, like 10 days to come in and say, look, I can throw you this amount like every month.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we should do that.
Yeah.
I think we should do that. But this is gonna have to be modified a
I
little bit.
think 10 days is too short when they've gone for years and not having to pay and then we got these
Well,
bills.
we're not talking pay the whole thing, we're talking like, you need to hook up with the village accountant and let us know how you're gonna pay this, because they haven't cared about us for years and years, and now we get to the point where why should we give them months and months and months? It's very easy to put it into.
Jim, sorry.
But I think we need to make it palatable, like, I read one ad and it says, your account is delinquent over 9 months, we've carried you longer than your mother did. Please, make arrangements to come into the office or.
Right, so is your 10 days to make arrangements?
Right, so down here it says, please return this form to the Calumet Village office within 10 days. If you have any questions, they can be directed to the office. So if somebody, we put their delinquent amount here, they haven't called within 10 days or tried to do something, we need to just put them in a collection agency because 50% is better than 0, and that's where we're sitting right now. We need to get those off our plate, that's how I feel about it, but you gotta remember, these are the same people that are gonna get a new charge for this year, and we have to decide what we want to do with these people. That's another issue that needs to come up next year. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but.
I really do think they should respond within 10
Yeah,
days.
it's,
An attorney will cost more than 50%.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
No, you're free.
you probably won't get, 20% out of them anyway.
Right, if we get 5%, it's better than 0.
That's right.
So,
Maybe you might get 15% or so. Maybe you might get somebody who.
Hey,
So anyways, you already have a letter drafted?
I gave you a copy of it. It's on your desk here. This is something that, here, I'll give you another if you don't have it. It's not the stable part.
Oh,
Here,
it's
here.
was it?
Here's one here.
Okay.
We drew this up, the only thing we're gonna have to add besides delinquent account is this alley thing that has to do with, although we should put it under the snow contract. We gotta add the alley thing, because they have to pay $8,800. They maybe not even anything.
I'd like to go over the letter to the.
And we have to discuss whether we're going to provide service.
Because we meet next Thursday, and then when we have a council meeting, then the council can approve the final letter to get
No, it's getting late in the game, we gotta approve this tonight, Peggy. It's November, what, 6th today? By the time, that's 2 weeks before the council meeting starts, we gotta get these snow contracts out. We gotta get these letters out immediately to the people if they want a snow contract or not. We can't wait 2 weeks. It will be too hard for them to find somebody, but we gotta do this.
So, we can look over this letter to go out. The only question on this would be, right now this references, the 2 payments on December 1st and on February 1st. How would you, for amounts, say, over $1,000, would you say give them a 3rd payment date, like April 1st?
Well,
No,
we only got one party who likes an additional time.
Yeah, but you don't know that other people don't want additional time. This night might not have been a good night for people to be here.
Then they can call this office and we can make arrangements.
It's better
We're not
than
gonna be-
paper.
People don't get the Gazette.
Well, they can go online and see it.
That's right.
You know, it's online as well.
I think we need to say, please contact the village office and make payment
To make
arrangements,
arrangements.
or to cancel the service if you decide to go with a private contractor for any of these
Well,
services.
if they don't
No, we can't.
respond in 10 days that they want a contract, that means in our eyes, after they receive it, that they don't want a contract with us. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Should we add something about payment terms can be arranged by
Yeah, you
contacting?
can add-
Yeah.
that would be, that
I
would
think
be.
that's
I
right.
think that's reasonable because
Yeah.
it's all about communication. I think everybody that's here tonight knows that we have to break even for what it costs the village.
Now, there's nobody here at this table that wants to be raising these rates like we are, but we cannot lose double what we're doing. We can't.
Living in the residential, I would love to be able to pay these rates and get it out my door and not have to deal with it
We
at
all
all.
would. We all would.
So if someone comes and asks for payment terms, does it have to go to the council for approval?
I would
Who's going to
yes,
approve?
it should, the committee anyway.
But here's the problem with that. Say somebody like, for instance, their bill's gonna go from 2,500 to 3,000 for the whole year.
Co-op, for example.
Yeah, for example, like that, you know, the office should be able to, if we have 50% is due in December and the other 50% in February, we could add, like you said, which is a good idea, any accounts more than $1,000 will have a third payment option. Would that be sufficient for people? Yeah, we could put,
Individuals' arrangements will be made for large balances.
well, we could just put 3 dates there if you're over $1,000.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
something.
especially if you're dealing with people that are making their payments,
Sure.
like the co-op, I mean, you know, you're not gonna get stuck by the co-op, it'd be just a
As
matter of.
long as they're making.
Well, no,
And I'm sure there's other businesses, that's all I'm
Right.
saying, that,
We're not trying to make this hard.
no, I'm just saying,
How
make
about
it
the first
easier for
payment
the
on May
office, it's
1st?
just,
Okay, February, March, April, 2 months, 2 months.
That might not be enough.
Well, for
Then
Just say
we
make
will work with them.
arrangements. Just make arrangements to make
No, because if you
payments.
make it sketchy, people are gonna do nothing. We gotta put dates down.
December, January, February, March, April. I
But
would
if
do.
people don't know when money is coming, that might not go in.
Businesses,
Does that mean May
businesses,
1st?
no, it'd be April, 2
April.
months,
December?
February.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So instead of putting 50%, just put, you can make 3 payments. Payment is due on,
December 1, February 1, and April 1.
Do we want that for everybody?
We could do that if you want.
No, for contract.
Don't make it tougher for your staff and all the rest of it.
Just
the
there's no
contracts.
contracts.
Okay, so this is only contracts.
Yeah, for the contracts, right? It's not gonna be.
Well, just send them the bill, and then if they can't pay it, then they'll tell us when they can make payment. Why set time parameters at all?
Well, because if you're gonna have somebody's snow sidewalks go from 250 to 500, it would be nice if they could pay like, 150, 150, 175, it would be better. I
But
think.
then they'll call, we don't have that many contracts that we can't look at an individual and help them. If they're willing to make payments and come in.
I
and-
think we need to keep it simple.
We gotta keep it simple.
I think if we
That is
do
simple.
this, and if there's circumstances where somebody, I'm sure Joe or Corinne,
They can talk to these
they can
people.
talk to these
Well, then
people
just add
and get approval from the finance.
Add the sentence at the end that we'd like to work with you if you have trouble making these.
No, because then we don't have trouble.
No, no, no.
Everybody.
No, everybody's gonna have trouble.
No.
Any questions, just call the village. We're not
Township
gonna be-
don't give you options for your property
Yes,
taxes.
do you pay it or you don't pay it?
No, we
Yeah.
don't give them options for property taxes.
I think
Yeah, we gotta make this
So,
simple.
so contracts will have 3.
They'll have 3
dates.
payments, the other one is due February 1st.
Okay.
Wait a minute. What are we-
Well, for sidewalks, the sidewalks are still split.
Well, we can do December and February.
Yes, December and
Yeah.
We've never done that before.
Oh, we don't for
There's
sidewalks?
always one payment
Yeah,
for
For
sidewalks.
sidewalks.
That you
Okay,
know
so
that.
there's one, okay. So
Well,
one
we-
payment for
One
sidewalks,
payment for
3
sidewalks.
for contracts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Where's the contract?
Okay, so sidewalks
Look at
are,
those signs. in the-
Yeah, but what is the
December
date?
1st,
Yeah.
February 1st,
And
April
April
1st.
right, so sidewalks are 12/1, contracts are 12/1, 2/1, and 4/1.
Right.
right?
Say that again, slower if you would.
Okay, so sidewalks are due on December 1st.
50%.
Sorry?
It is 50%.
No, you're saying
You said
sidewalks,
three
yeah,
people.
sidewalks are one payment.
Yeah.
And then for contracts, there'll be 3 payments, one on December 1st, one on February 1st, and one on April 1st.
Yeah, they'll get,
Right.
yeah, 3 months to be paid in full.
Okay.
And this, we gotta get this out to people pretty darn quick so they can get back to us what their pleasure is, because, you know, they wait at a time if the equipment starts breaking out, down and stuff, you guys have to just get out of the contract business altogether and just
I think
let
the
it as
sidewalk
jurisdiction.
bills went out in December before.
December is the beginning of
Merry
December.
Christmas, they send us tax bills and
It's called
everything.
life.
Yep,
If I'm
exactly.
not, it's around that.
Yeah.
Okay, the biggest thing that we've got everything pretty much gelled up, but the one thing we gotta decide to do we want to, these people that have egregious accounts that haven't paid in years, do we want to not offer them service? I'm not talking about people that just haven't paid me last year or the year before, I'm talking about the big ones. And I'll give you an example, on 5th Street, both sides, big money up there, haven't paid ever. You know, service.
See,
No, we
but
wanna
see,
do it.
I happen to agree that I like the sidewalks open. I think it hurts businesses.
There is no business up there.
Well, there are businesses up on
Not at the
north
very
end.
end, and I'm gonna give you an example, the north end bar in the parking lot, there's no business there, okay? Because it's closed, there's absolutely no business there whatsoever, okay?
Okay, and that would be fine, yeah, because Steve, we don't, for example, we don't do 6th Street between Scott and Portland, right? Because there are no businesses there.
Well,
Yes.
we do on Scott Street,
No, on 6th,
On 6th Street.
yeah, 6th Street,
You're talking about what,
on the west, the east side of the street.
well, we stop at Paulsari's
Right.
because the Ryan Funeral Home is paying to have that section of sidewalk
Oh,
done
they do.
across the street.
Okay.
So we do it up to that sidewalk. But yeah, the building on 6th Street it would be the east side of 6th Street. I think it's the Paulsari building. We don't plow up to that corner.
So I agree, I mean, I think a business like the north end, that corner, I agree with you. I mean, it doesn't impact anybody's business.
But we gotta be careful there, if we're gonna do it to one, we either have to do it to everybody or not. We have to set- No, you don't have to do
You
that?
can discriminate, of course you can.
Okay, well then across the street is the same scenario, they've never paid those apartments right there, there's no payment according to this book. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars.
Same thing with the old Urquhart building, I believe.
That's what I'm talking about, we go on the next one, they don't pay.
But we do, my concern is we do have a new fish company up there, a fish restaurant, right next to the north end. And then there's the arts place there, and then we have a lot over there. And then going up, it's L&L, they bought another lot, and then,
But we're only talking about.
We're talking the very end.
Fifth Street
Yeah.
starting at Thor's to the corner.
Well, that's
Thor's to
not
the
bad.
corner. I don't think the fish restaurant needs.
Well, and
Thor's
again,
Right.
that may be the street committee should meet, because
Hey,
for,
Bert, how do they get out of their car to get to the fish place if you don't park, if you don't plow?
Well, we're not talking about the fish place.
Yes, you are,
no,
because it,
no, what would happen, and this is why you need to talk. So for example, on the east side of the street, say
yeah,
from
but people
Bercola's,
still park there to go to that place.
right, but on the east
How
side of the
they
street,
get
you're
out of
getting,
their car? If
Right.
it's not plowed, how do they get out of your car?
right,
Then there'll be people parking up further and further.
We're
and
just
then
talking
nothing
about
can
the
get
corner
out.
parking,
How do
we're
you,
not
how do
talking
you,
about.
how do you get out of your car on 8th Street or 7th Street if you're visiting somebody?
Yeah, it's the same thing. They don't plow the street. Yeah, he's right. On this street, they don't plow the sidewalks. They don't plow the sidewalks on 7th Street. They don't plow the sidewalks on 8th
But
Street.
none of those streets are as narrow as Fifth Street. If you look,
Oh,
they've narrowed
You
it
ever
the
been on
last
my
few years.
street? I don't
Huh?
have a sidewalk.
Now, how many
Okay.
people go down
And
your
I got
street?
one lane.
Sometimes, how many people sometimes are struggling compared to Fifth Street?
Yeah.
How many people were down your street to Fifth Street? Figure it out.
well, and again,
That's
That's not even a.
why
comparison.
doesn't the street department come back with a recommendation?
Yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
we do.
that's because there's, I mean, we can argue about this all night.
Right.
But I mean, I think we should identify those properties that wouldn't impact ongoing businesses.
Yeah, we're not gonna try to impact any business, okay?
But you are hurting the fish, if you don't follow it.
Well, we're not gonna,
We'll
okay,
look at it
has the fish place paid their tax?
They just got there.
They're brand new, and they're on the
Yeah,
west
they're
side of the
close.
street.
Okay.
So, all right.
So we'll discuss that in our street meeting and we'll get Steve's input. We'll just need those contracts to see who's really, really behind it.
Okay, when can we get these out to the people?
Well, Corinne
This
is
has to be
here
modified.
back on Monday, so I would say Monday would probably be the earliest that.
Why can't we do before Monday? The
Why
whole week
can't we?
away, why can't we
Well,
not? I mean, all we gotta do is modify it, scan this thing, modify it.
right, but we're talking
send it
about when would it go out? I mean,
Immediately. There's only, how many
So-
contracts are in that book? Like, there's maybe, like, the contracts are the big thing. We gotta get those contracts out, so if they don't wanna deal with us, they can go elsewhere. The other ones, you can wait for Corinne, the sidewalks,
okay,
those
all right,
ones.
okay, fine.
So, we gotta get those contracts out.
And if Joe needs help stuffing them in an envelope or anything like that, call me, I'll be glad
There's
to.
there's only 10 of them in there. Yeah.
Press on, I can do it.
And you're adding that statement,
Well, he's gotta modify this thing we gave him because we're
having
adding
that
that.
alley.
That alley one, and you gotta call them, probably would be a good idea to get hold of Steve Google and talk to them before you even, because if they don't wanna do it, then you don't even have to add that on there.
And then are we saying sincerely Calumet Village Council? Is that who's sending the letter?
This is the letter.
Right, but
You can modify this thing anywhere, this was something that Steve had kind of come up with, and I researched it.
Sincerely, the Calumet Village Council.
Okay, well then we can put sincerely Calumet Village Council on it.
right, if you're saying deer and you're putting it in letter form.
Well,
it has
he
to
had
come from
deer,
someone.
he had deer.
You
Do we
know.
need deer, or do we just need residents? I kinda don't like
Well, I
deer.
thought that sounded better than, hey, you,
I could put you, that would be fine.
I say,
or put down love village council.
Yeah, love it, yeah, you're
Love
right.
That, I think that's really good.
We could modify deer
We
to
need more
something
love.
else, we could, you know.
We need more love given out there.
Yeah, okay, we're trying to.
Right.
All right, we'll discuss the contracts at the next meeting with you, so we
Fine.
can be here.
I want to thank all the people who have helped me put this together, Bill, the council, Virginia, we spent a lot of time on it, I don't think I would have been able to do it. I'm spending too much time on maintenance, I guess, so maybe I need to spend more time on administration, but thank you very much.
Oh, good, too.
Thank you. Yeah.
I have one more question before we get done with this. In the snow contracts, if you look at the blank sheets in there, did you take a look at those, Steve, and see if there's any modification to the blank contract to make sure that we're sending out something that's current?
Okay, well, these are, you know, the
The
ones that I have were dated 1912, or 2012. Numbers on my mind, I'm losing it, I got numbers on my mind.
You may want to, like, before you
Yeah.
just press the name, because he doesn't have to do this thing.
Right.
We should probably do one of these with that, just to let him know it. Well, maybe you don't need one of these for,
The contracts, you actually,
Yeah, if you want the service, then the contract should go in the envelope.
right.
yeah, because we've had 2 decline already,
So no.
Okay.
and that's fine.
So let me ask you this, Steve, we're gonna be sending them this with their name and how much it is, and then they have to come into the village and sign this with Joe. Is that my understanding? Is that the way you want it?
By rights, they should,
Yeah,
yeah, or contract.
Yes, they could just make.
they don't have to
Because
sign it,
somebody-
they can sign it at home and put it in the envelope.
Yeah.
Or we
don't
can
need
send them
that.
the contract, whatever is easier, send them a blank contract along with this thing.
With the dollar amount so they can send you the
Yeah.
check back. With the
Exactly,
signature.
simple.
Whatever makes it simpler. But we gotta get rid of that thing that
And then
says
the
we will not
payments,
receive service.
you gotta change the payments on the contract, because that's an old payment schedule.
That's why,
So we have to determine contract by contract,
Yep.
what the annual fee is going to be,
right,
then divide it by 3, and indicate, here's your.
First
uh,
payment.
We can just do
this- this-
percentage.
This is the fee for the entire
Dollar
season,
amount.
and we expect the payments will be made on the basis of the schedule. And then December 1, 1/3, February 1, 1/3, April 1, 1/3. Shouldn't be too tough to set that up in Word.
So would you be willing to like look at the contract with Joe tomorrow to make sure that things are in order before he sends a blank one and then this thing is in order, the thing we're gonna send along with that?
So how many contracts do you have?
There's not very many.
10?
10, 12, there's not very
Yeah,
many.
it's almost.
11, down to 9.
Template.
Yeah, as long as, tomorrow, we don't
And
have,
as long as we've got this
there's
page
not
right.
enough to plow, or fix any,
Right,
I'll be glad to, we can do that real quick.
because we need to get rid of the one thing that says you won't receive any services if you're not current. We need to get rid of that and deal with these people somehow, I guess. Unless you want to
Well,
decide to keep that in there, or?
Well, for the contracts, that doesn't seem to be an issue. It looks like we collect everything that we bill.
Right, but
So
this is a fit-all thing, but,
Right.
the contract people are gonna be on a different line than the sidewalk people.
I just delete that.
Yeah, but no, because this form fits everybody. This is for contract people, this is for sidewalk people, and this is for the one alley, and the delinquent
Yeah,
one.
the alley.
So all you gotta do is fill them out. If you only have a snow removal, it's how many square feet and the cost. I mean, then, put the person's name, send it to them. Should be pretty simple. But these contract people, if we don't get this out to them, they're gonna be very angry because they can't be waiting. We could have a snowstorm any day now, They need to know, we need to know if, they want our service or not.
Okay, before we adjourn, Jim, you want to have a special meeting?
Regarding the zoning board of appeals appeal that's been filed in circuit court. It won't take an hour and a half of this meeting, it's taking, but probably have to go into closed session.
Okay, so we do a session,
So
okay.
sometime later this week or early next week at the latest.
It would be closed session?
This is, we have a zoning appeal to the circuit court, so.
So would I be involved in the meeting?
You're welcome to attend, but it's.
Well, if it goes into closed session, then, because I believe that we
Yeah,
should be in
that's right.
closed session.
Yeah, it should be a closed session, yeah.
But as zoning administrator, as chairman of the zoning board, I feel I should be present, as well as Stephanie.
It's up to the council.
Great. So when are people available? I mean, what?
I think the zoning board of appeals should have a meeting, and, because there's Sandy,
It's
Jim.
up to the council at this point in time. The village of Calumet is the party in the suit.
He's correct.
It's up to the.
Yes, we need to have the council one, and then if you guys need to have a meeting after, that's fine, but we need to address that. That's the big burning issue right now.
But I
this is
do
all
believe
council.
all
Yes,
parties
the
involved
council
should-
is
all
very close.
parties involved in village,
So this would be.
village officials involved should be present at that meeting, as well as the closed session part of that meeting, because you can't accomplish what needs to be accomplished.
And again, that's a different issue. Let's pick a date first.
Okay.
So,
It's the same
I mean,
issue.
how is Monday or Tuesday of next week?
It'll have to be Monday or Tuesday because I will be leaving town again for week
Okay.
Tuesday.
All right.
Tuesday, we're good, eh?
So, I mean, would Monday work for everybody?
Time we talk.
So, 6, 7? It would be
Oh, in the
evening.
evening? Oh, that'd be fine.
So, next Monday at 6, or Jim, what's that?
Monday at 6?
I would prefer Tuesdays than Monday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday,
Well, Sandy, are you available on Tuesday then?
Tuesday night, 6, 7?
At 6,
Tuesday at 6, okay.
because then I have to, after meeting, then I have to
Get on the road?
get on the road.
planning commission meeting here at 6 o'clock too.
Oh, then we can't do that.
Wait a minute, I think we gotta take a step back. Are you saying the zoning board of appeals is not going to participate at all in a complaint that was sent to
Well, they can
us?
testify, or we're gonna,
Well, as a
we'll
village
submit-
trustee,
we'll submit
if
documents
I
to
were,
the court.
Wait, let me finish.
We'll submit documents to the court eventually, but in the end, what we do or don't do on this appeal is up to the council. It's that simple.
So it's a council decision,
It's
not
a
a board.
council decision.
Not
But
the
the-
zoning board.
But why did the council make a decision without including me in it in the first one? Because they
We
said
haven't.
they wanted to resolve it
I-
before anything was filed.
We couldn't, because, and I mentioned this to you on Thursday. Until she appealed, the zoning board of appeals decision was final. So the council can't do anything with the zoning board of appeals decision. I mean, if the zoning board of appeals wanted to rehear it or something like that, there was not time for that. So,
If it
but
was-
now that she's appealed.
If it was sent on the 11th and
Now
I,
that there's
the council
an
didn't
appeal,
get it
now
till
that there's
the
a-
20th.
now that
and
there's
we
an
had till the
appeal,
24th,
it's open and it's up to the council.
I don't think it ever should have gone that far and the council wasn't
Actually,
consulted.
it's up to the district court.
No, it's circuit court.
Circuit court.
Is it circuit court? It's the circuit court.
Okay.
Yeah, it says district court.
The-
It
the-
says
the zoning
district
board
court,
is
the
on
ordinance,
the
the ordinance is
Monday,
wrong.
Monday at
I would prefer.
She has an absolute.
Yeah, you're right.
She has a right, she has an absolute right to
Monday,
appeal and.
that is-
Monday, okay.
Monday
Monday.
at 6? Yeah.
Okay, Monday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Monday,
6 PM.
Okay,
This is gonna be.
thank you.
Okay.
And that's not conflicting with the, planning commission?
That's Tuesday.
Okay.
so it's a special closed meeting? We're gonna be closed?
Well, we're discussing litigation, right?
Yeah,
It'll be
litigation
special
going
meeting.
to close
But I
session.
think we're gonna go into closed
Yeah,
session.
So you start open,
And then go close.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so Monday at 6. Finally, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Okay, so Sandy and Jeremy, you want a second?
I'll second
All
it.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
So that's mine.